Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the very first KLCV tournament of 2014. My name is Nature, I am joined by Spuddington, and this is the Challenger Series number 17.
Welcome back everybody. It's been a fairly long time actually, 2-3 weeks at least, but we are back. We do have two excellent teams coming in right now. Reason Gaming versus TheRED. Powerhouse from Russia versus I think a fairly new, not a new lineup in terms of all the players, but a new lineup for Reason Gaming, the organization.
Yeah, it certainly is as it seems. It is I believe it is a British organization now, however there are no British members on the team anymore. So it's for the most part all Danish, but we will just go and see how they perform in this tournament. Picks and bans coming in here fairly slow for now. Kassadin, Gragas, Rengar, Shyvana and Evelyn being banned. Nixer has got 12 more seconds until we can ban that very last champion. And just for now, nothing too surprising in those banned champions just yet.
Yeah, it's pretty much the champions that we know. I mean, Evelyn actually is sort of falling out of the meta a little bit, surprisingly. She was nerfed. I believe her E does physical damage now, or wait, was that the next patch? I don't actually know, but I think it does physical damage now. And certainly Evelyn was obviously after the stealth changes, after the vision changes towards, became a lot stronger. Everyone was playing her. Flavor of the month. People started to learn to predict the paths of Evelyn. Enemy junglers learn to kind of just really get in, get aggressive, and camp her and stop her from ever being able to actually gank. So she did fall away a little bit, but clearly there is a respect ban there, and that does seem to be something the Red fear.
Alright, so Trashy will be picking up the Elise as the very first champion for his team. Nothing too surprising there either, as of course that very last champion being banned on the side of the Red is actually Annie. And something worth noting is that we do actually have the Red switching out one of their members. I believe they switched out Demonko for Darker on that support side. So nothing, that is interesting to say the least. But Darker is of course quite a well-known player for his contribution to Gambit Gaming in the LCS. And they will now be picking up the Yasuo and the Lucian on the side of the Red.
Alright, so interesting picks, but it is, as you say, kind of interesting that we've been seeing both of the support players that Gambit cycled through while Edward was in America. They're kind of coming back in, because they almost disappeared after they left that Gambit team. But I've actually seen Voidal recently on Apples' Sour, who became Cloud9 EU, and we've now got Darker in the Red here. So definitely a lot of Russian players out there. It's a very popular game there, as it sort of is everywhere else, in fairness. But Yasuo, interesting pick. Could go mid, could go top. Very mechanical champion, and we'll see if people are able to make it work. Thus far, though, in competitive play, from what I've seen, people have not been able to make Yasuo work yet.
This might just be the very first time then, as we will have to go and see. Beansu and Barney D have picked themselves up the Riven and the Thresh. So the Thresh, of course, very common pick in that support style, as of course is the Annie, but the Annie has been banned. And Darker looking to maybe counter that one by picking up the Leona for his team, and Dimashka will probably be picking up the Khaziks, although he hasn't locked it in quite yet. So we might just have to wait for that one more second, and he will in fact be locking the Khaziks in.
Leona support, very common nowadays. We're seeing that pretty much all the time. It's Annie, Thresh, Leona. Those are the three supports. Occasionally you might see a Zyra. However, the Khaziks jungle, also fairly common in solo queue, but in competitive play there are a couple of foibles to it. You'll see actually if you look right now that the Red have countered for it, but if you pick Khaziks jungle, you're going to have generally a very squishy team composition. However, Yasuo can actually be built either very glass cannon or a little bit tanky later on, but they've also got Leona, so they will have that kind of tank initiator role covered for them here. So the Red, very safe to pick up Khaziks jungle. It could be mid lane or top lane Khaziks for the record, but it's much less common nowadays.
Yeah, and speaking about tanky initiators, they will pay on the side of the red is actually looking to pick up the Zac. Now, we haven't seen a whole lot of Zac lately, so, well, that is going to be very, very interesting if he decides to, in fact, pick that one up. On the other side, Reason Gaming have picked themselves up the Caitlyn and the Renekton for their team. Of course, the Caitlyn being a fairly standard, or maybe a little bit more of a safe AD carry pick, as most players know how to play the Caitlyn, and there's no real danger in picking up the Caitlyn in those early levels, as she does keep a safe distance usually. And indeed, the red have picked themselves up the Zac.
So that's an interesting choice there. That does definitely imply it's actually going to be a laning Kha'Zix here. Well, okay, actually it's very, very difficult to tell because Kha'Zix could jungle, Zac could jungle. I'm actually inclined to say most people would play Zac as a jungler now, especially given the matchups here. Maybe against Renekton. Okay, I'm just going to say it could be either of them. Very difficult to predict as of right now, but Fireys is, I believe, their top laner, so if he is going to be sticking with that, that does imply jungle Kha'Zix, which would make a lot of sense. However, with the full lineup of the red here, they've gone for a very, very heavy assassination approach. Lucian is basically going to have to look out for himself. The rest of the entire team is just going to be diving on the back line, and that is why Reason Gaming picked out Caitlyn, that safe AD carry, in order to avoid being murdered.
Alright, regardless though, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to head into a very, very quick commercial break. In 3 minutes, we are going to head on to the Rift when Reason Gaming and the Red looks to secure first blood here in the Challenger Series number 17.
Sunlight begins to fade now, and I feel like I'm losing time, but I don't know how I'm here. The sunlight is turned to gray, and I feel like I'm losing love again. I don't know how I'm here. I could feel your heartbeat. I could feel somewhere you're looking down. I could feel your heartbeat. I could feel somewhere you're looking down. 'Cause it's you I'm loving, and it's you that I wanna breathe. And it's you I'm loving, and it's you that I wanna need. slipping through our fingers. We're running out of time. But you are the one I've chosen, and I won't lay still, living left behind, imprisoned by this love. I could feel your heartbeat. I could feel somewhere you're looking down. I could feel your heartbeat. I could feel somewhere you're looking down. 'Cause it's you I'm loving, and it's you that I wanna breathe. And it's you I'm loving, and it's you that I wanna need.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Chaos TV Challenger Series number 17, I believe. This is TheRED versus Reason Gaming. I'm Spuddington, joined by Nature.
Yeah, welcome ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much, Spuddington. Now we might have Barney D in a little bit of trouble here, as we do have, of course, the red grouping up in that river. Barney D is, of course, to scout them out if they decide to invade, as Barney D is keeping quite a safe distance. He doesn't know they are there, of course, but as he does keep a safe distance, I don't think he will get caught. But we've seen weird things in games happen, so we might just see that happen nonetheless. Darker might find him out here. He doesn't have his shield leveled yet. He might just level his Zenith Blade, but he just decides to level the Shield of Daybreak. He gets flayed back. Barney D puts a level on the flay, and that is going to be the end of that invade. Piltover Peacemaker comes out, puts a little bit of poke down, but no real fatalities just yet.
A little bit of a curious decision there not to go on Thresh. Thresh at this stage of the game, very, very squishy champion. There was no way Zenith Blade would have missed had it been skilled and used there. And the rest of the team were close enough to follow that up. So there must have been a reason they didn't want to risk getting engaged upon. But it's difficult for me, honestly, to see what that is. Their level 1 fight is pretty strong, especially characters like Yasuo and Lucian, sustained damage characters who can hit multiple people if they're really, really clumped up. And especially Yasuo, because level 1 fights tend to drag on, which means you can get more than one of those little tornadoes off.
Yeah, indeed, as in that bottom lane, Barney D and Chrisland decided to scout out their enemy's blue buff, so that means they know Dimashka has started off with a red buff, which is fairly common, but they decided to check just to be sure, probably, and that means they know his jungle path. Aside from that, nothing really too interesting happening just yet. Across the board, we've only got warding totems being picked up, so no red trinkets, as Nixar does take a little bit too much poke for his liking, maybe, but that is going to be the end of that as well. But Barney D and Chrisland are doing quite a good job in actually forcing Nixar and Darker away here.
Yeah, and actually there's a little point of the meta here to note. Both these supports are running Doran's shield starts here. They have no actual wards in their inventory, but the Doran's shield start makes them so difficult to kill. It actually makes ganking them quite difficult because they become so comparatively tanky, but it also does leave you a little bit vulnerable. Kha'Zix is coming in and they've got the Leona down.
Yeah, that might be real dangerous. Barney D finds himself in trouble. Leap comes in, gets dodged by Barney D right now. Barney D getting chased down. Ignite is ticking. Will he die? Not quite yet. Yes, he will. He goes down for first blood. But right now, Trashy is there to turn this one around. Darker being forced to flash. Repel comes down. Trashy still in pursuit. Darker goes down. Now Nyx are in all kinds of trouble. He does decide to flash in the end, and that makes it a 2-for-1. When the Piltover Peacemaker doesn't quite seal the deal.
That was really nice awareness there by Barney D. Realizing he was going to get caught, realizing Elise was close by, and just turning it around rather than trying to hold on for as long as possible. He just went straight for the death sentence, caused Kha'Zix to take quite a lot of damage, and then they were able to get the Elise counter gank down, win the fight, and chase them out.
Yeah, So in that middle lane, they will pay is having a little bit of trouble against Syncox rather, actually, as Syncox is putting a little bit too much pressure that they will pay cannot handle at this phase, as he does do quite a good job in farming under that turret. But Trashy is lurking around in that jungle, so he might decide to actually gank. They will pay. They will pay is well, a fairly agile champion, but he doesn't have any enemies to dash on at this point if Trashy decides to actually jump him. So he might find himself in trouble, but it seems Dimashka is there to help him. Trashy might find Dimashka here. Gets a good volatile spider, good stun as well. Dimashka is surely not going to be able to survive this if he stays too long, and he leaps over the wall to safety.
There's a funny thing about Kha'Zix as a jungler. One of the facts that makes him incredibly strong is the fact that in a jungle fight with the enemy jungler, you're going to be in a close range one-on-one 90% of the time, and that's where the isolation damage on Taste Their Fear is hugely important. But the weird thing about Elise is because her spiderlings, she's actually not isolated when she's in spider form, making her a weirdly strong duelist, even for Elise, who is already a very strong duelist jungler.
Yeah, so it seems we are having a little bit of trouble on our voice server here, but we will just continue nonetheless, as of course Firez is facing off against Binsu, which we haven't touched on too much. Both are sitting on about an equal amount of farm, so no real danger for both of them just yet, as the real action is going on in that bottom lane. Yet again, Death Sentence comes through, not quite connecting on towards Darker. Darker keeps a safe distance, gets that Zenith Blade on towards Chrisland. Chrisland will just take that Dark Passage to safety, and he reaches a safe distance. And, well, that is looking to be the end of that once again. And when we were to take a look at farm in that bottom lane, Nixar is sitting on 16 farm against Chrisland's 33. That is looking to be quite a large lead being built up for Chrisland here already.
Yeah, that is a pretty worrying sign, honestly, because with a Leona lane, you typically do expect to do fairly well early on, but that Elise counter gank early on has really made it so that Chrisland is just able to keep shoving Nixar up to the tower and keep him trapped there. As you can see, he's trying to kind of push it out, but he just doesn't want to tank too many auto attacks. And because of the Doran Shield start, you can see Barney D is willing to trade auto attacks, whereas with other starts it tends to be you don't have enough regen as compared to the enemy's AD carry lifesteal in order to make that a worthwhile thing, to just go up to the AD carry and auto attack them and receive one back.
This might be dangerous for Dimashka, being forced to leap, gets stunned up. Meanwhile, that top lane, we do actually have Binsu going down. But hold that thought for a second, because in that middle lane, Syncox does manage to pick up the kill for Dimashka, so that is a 1-for-1. And it seems like, well, they will pay roamed, and that cost their team a kill. But in the end, they got a kill back for it.
Yeah, and you can actually see that They Will Pay doesn't particularly want to stay in his lane against Riven right now. It's a very difficult matchup at this stage of the game. That being said, his ultimate has a very, very short cooldown. She is lower on health, and if he can keep her poked down, he might be able to go aggressive once that comes back up again. So watch that space when that time comes around, but right now, Trashy may run into Jamalka.
Yeah, Dimashka gets stunned up by the cocoon. Trashy is surely going to do a whole lot of damage. And Dimashka once again being forced away. Syncox is there to actually reinforce him. And Dimashka pops a ward into the brush. As we do have They Will Pay rotating over towards that red buff area along with Firez. So if they do find Trashy there, that might be trouble. The wind wall comes out and didn't quite block anything. But that is quite a strong mechanic here against Trashy's cocoons.
Yeah, it will block any kind of projectile, and that does include Riven's Wind Slash finisher. That's actually hugely important in the matchup, but it's a very, very quick reaction thing to block. So that's something you'll have to watch out for if they end up in a straight-up one-on-one, which is not implausible. I'll say that. They tend to both be fairly aggressive, and Riven will most likely want to try and make kills. Hack might actually find him. Okay, this is interesting. They're not fighting. I'm confused.
Alright, so Darker and Nixar were actually rotating over towards that area as well, so I don't think they actually wanted to fight there. as of course Trashy was a little bit out of position there, I believe, and that is actually the very first turret going down for Reason Gaming, as they have built themselves a 2,000 gold lead, looking to go off with a very strong start here, but of course nothing has been decided here in this game just yet.
No, indeed. Definitely not a brilliant start for the Red, though. That gold difference at this stage, I mean, 2,000 gold is never going to end a game, but it is the point where it starts to get alarming if it increases any more, and it's particularly bad because Kha'Zix is not doing well at all. He doesn't have a jungle item, so he can't really farm the jungle to catch up, which means that he's behind and he's forced into ganks, which is a very risky endeavor. He's not going to be able to get anything done at top lane right now.
Now Binsu did spot him out by, of course, using those sweet wards, and he will just be keeping a safe distance here. He doesn't know Dimashka is there, although he is 2 levels ahead of Dimashka. Might be trouble for Dimashka. He does have a, well, of course, not passive of his, but I don't think Binsu is actually going to try and fight Dimashka here, as Fires was there as well. But meanwhile, in that dragon area, Reason Gaming looking to counteract to Dimashka's movement, and they will in fact be picking up that dragon.
That is always the risk when you show yourself in the top lane, especially as Kha'Zix, who's normally a very dragon-focused jungler, because he chunks it down very quickly with his Q. Not necessarily a good idea to be there, but Reason Gaming were far enough ahead, they might well have just forced it anyway, so he tried to make something happen in the top lane, but was unfortunately stymied by the top lane ward. Dimashka has found Trashy. He may die.
Yeah, this is not good at all for Dimashka. Red buff is ticking, and he does manage to escape in the end. Great reaction time by using that leap as soon as humanly possible. So he does manage to survive by the skin of his teeth, though, and that might leave Nixar darker, and they will be in a little bit of a dangerous situation in that middle lane. For now, it seems they will just be turtling this one out. Quizland and Barney D will not be able to puncture their defenses, and they will not be taking down that turret just yet, but they are sure trying to.
They will get it eventually, it takes a very long time if you're dealing with Yasuo, and there's a big risk of being engaged upon suddenly if they're not ready for it. The wind wall keeping the lane will play safe is a very important thing, and Dimalke is damn it, it's Kha'Zix, whatever his name is supposed to be pronounced as, is really playing with fire right now. Senkux has a lot of damage.
Yeah, this could be very dangerous. He is looking to pursue this kill, though, as he does decide to leap away in the end. They did they did force the Riven ultimate, and Senkux will just be backing away, but in the end, that's just a Riven ultimate. Doesn't have, well, it does have, let's see, quite a long cooldown, but not too long in the end. They will pay gets caught, uses the wind wall. That will block a lot of damage out of Quizland in the end if he decides to pursue that kill, but nothing happening just yet. Both teams staying fairly passive.
These names, I can't seem to cope with any of them, but that was actually an interesting situation there. The flash was forced out of Caitlyn. You may notice Quizland did not have that available because a very close call with a Zenith Blade, and the two-man of Leona Yasuo is the kind of thing you might run in a kill lane. They have a lot of burst if they can get onto either Barney D or Quizland. Barney D is a little bit tankier, but Doran's shield and a Sightstone probably not enough to withstand that much damage.
Yeah, surely not. Dimashka right now, he might be looking for a kill. He has been spotted out once again. Senkux, oh, this could be very dangerous for Nixar. Senkux might actually be looking for this kill. He has spotted out Nixar. Here he goes. Needs a very good stun off to pull this one off. Nixar gets stunned off. Takes a lot of damage. Senkux is surely going to pick up that kill. Ignite has procced rather. And Nixar did use the barrier, but it's not going to be enough. Senkux picks up the kill. But Dimashka right now looking for that retribution on towards Senkux. Uses the Void Assault flash being used by Dimashka. Senkux looking to turn around and run the other way, but it isn't looking like it's actually going to be enough. Oh wait, as he tries to turn this one around, Dimashka takes a whole lot of damage, but he does manage to pick up the kill in the end with the help of Darker, that is. In that middle lane, however, they will pay going very low. Quizland might be looking to finish this one off. Darker is there to reinforce him. They will pay. Not quite dying just yet. He's We do have that Zenith Blade connecting one towards Chrisland. Darker isn't going to be able to pick up this kill as Barney D is there to help Chrisland out if needed. In that top lane, we do have some action going on, but we are just going to keep our eye here in that jungle. Chrisland just dodges the culling, and that is going to be the end of that. Wow, that was quite an extended fight right there.
Very, very long fights tend to happen when you're up against Leona. She just sort of doesn't die, really. It's part and parcel, I feel, of the rather large armor and magic resist steroids she gets from her W. So, obviously not looking like she'll go down, but still losing the fight overall, even managing to kind of get the better of Senkux there in the bottom lane. And actually now Dimake could be in trouble again.
Yeah, this is very, very bad for them as he does barely get the leap off, but he gets killed mid-animation, so no getting out of there. And that is yet another kill on Dimashki. He has got 3 deaths on his name as well. That is actually more than anyone on this in this game. For now, 3 deaths isn't a whole lot, but it could be game-breaking in this game, in this particular game, because right now we do have Reason Gaming extending their gold lead to 5,000 gold, which is starting, or which might just be a little bit too much to handle for that red lineup at this point.
Yeah, they don't function too well from behind. I mentioned in Champions League they're a very dive-heavy team. They might be going for dive on Barney D, but no, they're not. They are, in fact, just going to kind of hang around. But they're a very dive-heavy team. They need to be jumping into the back line. But if they are all so A, squishy, and B, lacking in damage, they are not going to be able to delete the people they catch out in the back line, or even maybe get near enough to dive in the first place.
Yeah, so Damashka taking an ace in the hole there for his teammate TheRED, who was getting very, very low. And right now Damashka, he actually just walked over ward, so that might mean he's going to be in trouble. But Firez is there to help him out if needed. In that bottom lane, Senkux actually doing a little bit of split pushing, and he is actually going to take down that turret, as there's no one reacting to that on the red team. And, well, yeah, we do have TheRED heading over there, but he isn't on time at all, and he actually gets stunned up. As we do have that blade coming out, Senkux will be taking him down, and that is yet another kill and a turret, and that was less than ideal. Meanwhile, that middle lane, Barney D looking to finish off Dimashka right there. Darker just managed to pick up Chrisland in the same process, but Nixar and Darker aren't done with Barney D here quite yet. Barney D gets locked up by the Zenith Blade, gets stunned up. He does get a Dark Passage on himself, but that is only going to shield him. Culling comes out, and Barney D goes down to Nixar.
But Barney D is going to be perfectly happy with that result. Him taking that long to die has resulted in an inhibitor tower going down. Reason Gaming are pushing in so quickly and so strongly. It's actually quite remarkable to see. They've got a couple of new players on their team. Players that I don't think I've seen anywhere before. Pinto I've certainly seen, but Chrisland and Senkux I do not think I have seen around the place. And that means kind of something interesting, because the Red are a very, very solid team. We've seen them multiple times. They tend to be the kind of team that gets to, you know, the semi-finals. Not necessarily the kings of the Challenger Series that we've seen out of the likes of Copenhagen Wolves back in the day, but they are a very, very solid team, and they are currently being, well, taken to the cleaners. And actually, Senkux might be hanging around to catch Lucian. This is worth watching.
Yeah, this might be dangerous for Nixar once again. Senkux does manage to land the stun, and Nixar is not going to get out of there. Senkux picks up another kill. Right, well, what might have been Nixar a little bit out of position right there, and that might just be the inhibitor for that Reason Gaming team. We do have TheRED and Darker heading over there, and Senkux will respect their their presence, and it seems he might be in trouble here himself. TheRED might be looking to knock him up and get that last breath on towards him. Oh, doesn't quite manage to land the tornado though, so he won't be getting that knock up. Zenith Blade does connect on towards Senkux, and that is going to be the end of him. TheRED picks up the kill, and that is going to make it 9-6. But moving on that middle lane, Chrisland and Barney D looking to pressure a little bit more.
Yeah, that heavy commitment again to picking up only one kill, taking a long time to do it. But this time they haven't lost their inhibitor tower, so as long as they can hold onto it, as long as they can prevent it from being chipped down anymore, it will regenerate. That is one of the things since the start of the 2014 season that has been changed. But team in general is not looking good. They may be able to catch Chrisland here.
Oh, they will pay, gets a good knock up on towards Chrisland. Chrisland takes a whole lot of damage. Solar Flare comes down as well. Darker is looking to finish off Chrisland here on his own, but we do have They Will Pay going down in the process right now. Dimashka gets the kill. He gets locked off by Trashy. Trashy will be looking to finish him off. Dimashka gets a good leap out of there, but Binsu follows him through. He picks up the kill right now. Fire is in all kinds of trouble as he will be going down to the Ignite, or will he, as he barely survives that one. Right now, Darker actually flashing over the wall. Great death sentence on towards Nixar. He just gets deleted, and Trashy will be picking up that kill. 12-7 in a what is a 1 versus 3 trade. Not good at all for the red team.
I feel like the red actually did pretty well in that fight, all things considered, but the problem is just that there's that massive goal gap. It's fairly evident, but they were not able to burst down Binsu. They could not, well, they weren't even able to take him down given all the time in the world, and Trashy is almost equally tanky at this point, so they have 2 major threats preventing them from getting to the back line, and if Sencooks was actually there in that fight, there is almost no way Reason Gaming could have fallen behind in that fight, and well, as it happened, they didn't anyway, so Trashy now fighting Dimashka again.
Yeah, but Trashy will just be repelling over that wall. Fares is actually looking to chase him down here. Darker is there to single him out. Trashy desperately trying to get out. Gets a good cocoon on towards Fares. Leap comes in of Dimashka. Doesn't quite manage to connect those void spikes as Trashy is still desperately trying to run away. Solar Flare comes down. Trashy gets locked up by the Zenith Blade. Once again, he uses a repel. And he propels on towards Dimashka. That is not going to be enough for him, as he barely, or as he almost managed to pick up Dimashka there. But Mew on the bottom lane, Sencooks still looking to pick up that inhibitor.
Yeah, there was no way he was going to be able to get that because he was trying to... He initially used his ultimate and his Wind Slash to force Nixar away. Binsu taking up another kill there in the top lane. But he then decided to try and take down the inhibitor while tanking Yasuo, and if there's one thing Yasuo does do, it's definitely damage. Now they're going to be trying to chase this down, but Talisman of Ascension should get them out, unless they can catch someone themselves.
Ooh, Ace in the hole connects on toward Nixar. Took a really weird turn there. Nixar almost going down there, not quite yet. And they might be looking to chase down Barney D, or They Will Pay is looking to land that tornado on towards him. But Barney D, well, is a little bit too tanky, and they don't know who is near him, of course, as Chrisland will be taking away his enemy's blue buff, and he might be split pushing in that bottom lane. Right now, Barney D gets caught, gets a good death sentence on towards those wolves to get out, and it seems like Chrisland is there to reinforce him, and Barney D gets out safely.
Learning from their previous errors there, but They Will Pay there. Actually very unfortunate. His tornado Q, the third one, timed out just as he was casting it, but unfortunately did not proc the knock up on Barney D, which meant he was able to get away, and they didn't want to get caught into another long chase that resulted in them losing those 2 exposed inhibitors. They had to run. Trashy is now going to be going for the mid, and the rest of the guys, looking like Reason Gaming, want both inhibs.
Yeah, this inhibitor is not looking to survive this one at all. Binsu Sencooks will be picking that one up for his team. Very first inhibitor going over to Reason Gaming, and they are looking for more. Second inhibitor is about to fall as well, as we don't have that cocoon connecting just yet. There you have it, the second inhibitor falling as well. So that means there's 2 waves being pushed in towards that red base. But here comes the Solar Flare towards Chris, and he gets melted by Dimashka. Farvis gets caught by the death sentence, but he is way too tanky. Nixar desperately trying to get out. He gets melted. Double kill coming in for the Riven as he is looking for his triple kill. That's a triple kill. Is that actually a quadra kill? It is a quadra kill. Fires will be going down last, and those are the blobs being split up, and it would surprise me if they won't gift him over the pentakill. Oh, he smiled. Oh my lord, that is really really well placed smite there.
Rage quit. He rage quit. Okay, no, he didn't really. This game is more or less over. I assume that was kind of a joke, the disconnect, but the Red are actually respawning. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is now a 4v5. Kind of hoping Sencooks reconnects They are actually going to be trying to turn this around on Trashy now, but he's going to be just getting out with the Lantern. Actually, no, They Will Pay is chasing.
Yeah, They Will Pay gets flayed back. However, Trashy might be looking to turn this one around. Barney D going very, very low, gets caught by the death sentence. Trashy looking to sink in those fangs, uses the repel, won't quite get it. Really, really good mechanical play out of They Will Pay right there.
Okay, Senkux has now reconnected. He has told his team off and threatened to disconnect should they ever steal the Penta from him again. But it's okay, because he'll probably never get the chance again. Probabilities of getting Pentas very, very low indeed. So, we are now kind of still in a situation where the Red are at a massive, massive disadvantage. They are a long way behind on gold. They now have 2 inhibitors down. Baron is a massive, massive threat and going to be almost impossible for them to contest should Reason Gaming choose to go for it, because they're going to have to contend with 2 waves of super minions at the same time as trying to defend Baron, which is on the other side of the map. That all told generally means we're now sort of thinking, what are Reason Gaming going to be doing in the next game? This is a best of 3, obviously, so that's going to be a little bit difficult to answer actually right now, though, because it looks like Reason Gaming are just going to be pushing in Beansy's tank in the tower. Doesn't even care.
Yeah, great stun on towards They Will Pay. Solar Flare comes out, but that's not going to be enough to deter them from picking up that kill. First kill going over to the wards of the Senkux once again. Might be looking for that second kill on towards Dimashka. Walks into the base. It's a little bit too deep maybe. Dimashka goes down. We do have Senkux going down as well. Ace and all comes out. Gets blocked out by Firez. In the end, shutdown coming in on towards Senkux. There you have it. Firez still being chased down. Death sentence won't quite connect. Barney D doesn't quite connect the flay either. That is a double kill for Chrisland. They will be looking to pick up that that last inhibitor, and that might just be that might just be the game. In fact,
yeah, it's certainly looking like this game isn't going to go on for much longer. It's very much just a victory lap if Reason Gaming decide to go anywhere else on the map other than the Nexus right now. So they're going to push that in. I've got to ask though, what is going to be the solution? Last breath in.
Yeah, They Will Pay looking to pick up that kill on towards Beans, who is a little bit too tanky at this point, as is Barney D. And They Will Pay might be in trouble here. Built over Peacemaker comes out. He is being forced back on towards that spawn pad. Very first Nexus turret has fallen, as is the second Nexus turret. And that might just be the game if they do decide to pressure that Nexus turret, or that Nexus rather, a little more. Taking a whole lot of damage. Beansu trying to do work on that one, as we do have the Elise falling first. As we do have Crystalline falling as well. Right now, Barney D desperately trying to put more damage down. Beansu taking a whole lot of damage, and he won't be able to pick up the Nexus. So that is no, it isn't an ace, as Senkux has respawned, looking to pick up the inhibitor. One more hit will do it, and a very first game going over to the British Reason Gaming.
Very, very, oh, that smite. So very, very, honestly,